Appreciate your help. Christy was in there.
I call this meeting to order. It's the regular scheduled meeting of the KIPDA Board of Directors on today's date, September 26th, 2024 at 2 p.m. First of all, we'll start off with the roll call. Mr. Haley.
Thank you. Mr. Kevin Beatty.
Here.
Honorable Travis Buchanan for the Honorable Scott Bates. Here. Honorable John Black. Honorable Bernard Bowling.
Here on Zoom.
Honorable Byron Chapman. Honorable Jack Kaufman. Here. Mr. Brian Dixon. Honorable Troy Ethington. Honorable Jeff Gahan. Honorable Nicole George for the Honorable Craig Greenberg. Mr. Keith Griffey. Here. Honorable Treva Hodges. Honorable Maria Johnson.
Here.
Honorable John Park for the Honorable Dan Ison.
Here.
Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable John Ogburn. Here. Honorable Carol Pike. Honorable John Schellenberger.
Here.
Honorable Jerry Summers.
Here.
Honorable Jim Travis. Honorable Scott Travis. Here. And the Honorable David Vogel. We have a quorum.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Haley. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone here today, those that are here in person and those that are behind us on this big screen. They're really people. They're not just AI or anything like that. So we're glad to have them with us also and everything. So thank you all. And also too, I appreciate you coming out there. I know we have some maybe weather that might come in. So when you leave, we just ask you to be safe and enjoy your trip back home. So we'll start off with the regular scheduled minute of business, and first up is the approval of the August 4th meeting minutes. If there are no additions or any recommendations on that, entertain a motion to accept those minutes. Motion?
I'll second.
And we have a second. Any other questions or additions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Next up, we have a guest with us today. We have Mr. David Wicks, who is the Vice Chair of the Ohio Riverway, and he's going to give us a presentation and an update on what's going on. The river is still there, so that's a start. So we thank you, Mr. Wicks. Go right ahead, please.
Well, we do say that the river is still there and will be there tomorrow.
Okay.
Anyway, my name is David Wicks, and I'm also chair of the River City Paddle Sports Board, which has a place down on Louisville's waterfront and waterfront park. And I'm also chair of Payne Hollow on the Ohio, as well as the Ohio Riverway. Let's see. There we go. What I plan on doing in my 15 minutes is to talk a little bit about the Ohio Riverway and a nice movie that KET produced, and a little bit about UK and U of L, and then talk to Payne Hollow, and then talking about this updating the 1996 Ohio River Corridor Plan, and then this CORA, the Kentucky Ohio River Regional Recreation Authority, all in 10 minutes. And so we sort of base our work around this notion of the intersection of recreation, health, and restoration. They all go together. We're propelled by group partnerships. We have 115 members, over 300 miles of the Ohio River. We'll get this thing going, right? And 115 member organizations made up of counties and river towns and different environmental organizations. We have a big publication for the Ohio Riverway that is funded by tourism offices. We're producing another large one next year, which is probably have 40,000 this year. We'll have about 60,000 copies, which basically features from Ashland on down to West Point, Kentucky. Every year we do a pretty large challenge where this year we had 50 people from UK, U of L, Marshall, Shawnee State, and community members paddling big Voyager canoes from Portsmouth on down to Louisville, hosted by many of the county judges and mayors as we go on down. We also produced a movie with KEP, which is on KEP now, called This is the Ohio: Life, Death, and Rebirth. Morgan Atkinson made the documentary, and it's a fascinating look at the Ohio River. He did get awarded the Governor's Award for the Arts this year. And it really is it's a funny look at the river. It's just fascinating. We had a whole series of screenings of it, but it's online now, being used a lot in 8th grade classrooms around the Ohio River Valley. We're working hard on the National Water Trail designation with the National Park Service. So going from Ashland all the way down to Louisville, the National Park Service has given us 2 full-time staff that are doing basically the paperwork on it. You'll see some of the signs here over this next week. We'll have signs at every single one of our boat ramps that all the property managers have agreed to host them. And so almost 87 public boat ramps from Ashland on down to here, thinking through, how to portray some basic information. You go on the basic website that goes along with this, and you'll get all of the local paddling trails, but safety information and sort of a link with the tourism. Working with the National Park Service, we started a project called Rivertown Review, which is based around the Trail Town concept, but with National Park Service, and we worked with probably 17 communities and some significant outreach, and it's just fascinating to look as people coalesce around ideas that are both elected officials as well as citizens. That expanded this past year working with UK and U of L, and so the Department of Landscape Architecture has taken their senior capstone course and focused it on Ohio River. So they did Milton, working along with John, and they did Carrollton, and this year they did Maysville. This year they're looking at Portland, downtown Louisville. And so sort of an interesting piece. They produce a whole series of documents looking sort of maybe 50 years in the future. So you get some wonderful young folks coming into town, and many thanks for John for putting them up. And they interact with the county judge and the mayors and sort of citizens and distill all of it and come up and say, this bend at the bottom of the road there in Milton needs fixing. And it's pretty obvious in some of the things they come up with, but it's just fascinating how you look at young people. I just wanted to do a small little commercial on the Payne Hollow up there in Trimble County. I'm also chair of that, working with Trimble County folks and a bunch of people from Cincinnati, Louisville, and Madison. We purchased the land, the home of Anna and Harlan Hubbard. And just yesterday met with the State Nature Preserves Commission, and they're going to provide money for us to expand, going up, connecting us to Hubbard Lane. And so it's just a wonderful little process for us to sort of think about a regional tourism site based on self-sufficiency. And, if you don't know the story of Mr. Hubbard, I can certainly share it at great length, but working with folks in Madison, they produced 3 anthologies of the Ohio River. So they got together with Jonathan Green and Wendell Berry and Don Willis and of course Harlan Hubbard, produced these 3 around the Ohio River. Mr. Hubbard's also written 3 or 4 books, as well as produced almost 3,500 paintings. A lot of them are on display now at the Filson Club. So they have a very large exhibit now on the history of Mr. Hubbard down there in the Filson. It opened this past week. He spent his time on the Ohio River going up and down, exploring different sections. And so it's a perfect intersection between the Ohio River Way and this beautiful piece of land in Trimble County. So there it is. So you can sort of see where we are. We're purchasing the land just to the right of that up there. Judge Osborne came on out last week and welcomed 10 AmeriCorps members. And so that's one of our dreams, is to bring AmeriCorps members and they're doing trail work and sort of maintenance work on the property and, because there's no bathrooms, and so it's our dream to sort of get these infrastructure in place and then be open for the general public. That's just one project. When you really look at the Ohio River around the area, Shawnee Outdoor Learning Center, they're gonna build a $10 million facility funded by state government in Metro Louisville. Origin Park has gotten significant funds. They're now, have that South Monon Trail that goes all the way up towards Minneapolis, or not Indianapolis. They're also building a huge whitewater park there that they hope to steal the Olympics from for whitewater kayaking. We'll see. And then even the western expansion of Louisville, trying to that waterfront park going down to the west end. But when you think of all the projects up and down the river, it's significant. The state of Ohio just put in $157 million to 14 projects along the Ohio River, and Indiana is doing the same. My goal to really encourage Kentucky to do similar. In 1996, the city of Louisville created what's called the Ohio River Corridor Master Plan as part of the Cornerstone 2020, and they haven't updated it yet. We worked with the Brown Foundation and the Environment Institute and the U of L Center for Urban and Public Affairs, and they spent a semester looking at this whole Ohio River Corridor Master Plan from 1996. And they went through all the probably 115 recommendations, and they went through and said which ones were done, which ones weren't, which ones were really successful. And they really sort of created a new plan working with KIPDA, and their dream is to expand the scope from just Louisville area to both sides of the river, going up to Milton all the way down to West Point. And thinking through, they did a pretty neat sort of survey, which this is all online and we certainly can get copies of it. But they went through and they, had significant support for ecological conservation, parks and trails and water connections, and certainly historic preservations. And so those were the top ones that came out of it. One of the things they did also is they sorted all the responses by county. And so they went through and looked at each county about what the residents in the county think they really want to have. And priority one certainly is this trail connections and parks, and how can we sort of have more connected trails instead of segmented trails. And it's just, we always want to point out the excitement and enthusiasm of Trimble County, because Judge Ogburn noticed every single one is priority one. And so you have 9 priorities, which I think is always, it's that excitement coming out. All of this, and one of the things that I want to bring up pretty clearly is that this new facility with the Department of Local Government called the Kentucky Ohio River Regional Recreation Authority, Ken Fleming from Prospect and Oldham County, he was the sponsor of it along with Mr. Osborne. But Mr. Brashear signed it, and his first meeting will be coming up in, we hope, October. And that's just really under the Department of Local Government. They did have a presentation that they gave at their local government conference a couple of weeks ago. And these slides come from their introduction to new county clerks. So you can sort of see where the 25 counties are. It's patterned after the Mountain Regional Recreation Authority that now has a annual allocation from the state for running it. Right now, the KORA, Kentucky Ohio River Regional Recreation Authority, does not. But it sort of details out what it really does, and really trying to think about that recreational support. One of the things they're interested in looking at is, thinking about matching funds. And is there something that the state could do to provide matching funds? Is there something that the state could do with the Kentucky Division of Fish and Wildlife, and or even some of the funds that the local government controls, like land and water conservation funds and the recreational trails program? And so this KORA is really try to push some of those funds up north in Kentucky along the Ohio River. The purpose of the authority really is to establish trails, and it really is trying to think through, Kentucky's very good at having segmented bike trails and segmented walking trails. And the dream is really, how can you connect as I'm there at Payne Hollow and there in Trimble County, and you can take side roads from Trimble County all the way to Westport, but you get to Westport and you try to get to downtown Louisville on Highway 42, and it's just not the easiest way. Now, this is a long-term process, and so we just want to make sure, but you know, we have had now 21 out of the 24 counties pass resolutions to be involved with this. And so we hope that by the first meeting, all 25 counties will be signed on to it. You know, the questions for it, I'm just an outside advocate, but it really is a project now of the Department of Local Government. And so they have staff there that are ready to respond to any questions. One of the things that I really want to encourage is for us, and I say us because I helped participate in this, looking at the Ohio River Corridor Master Plan update, is how can this group really, and how can KIPDA help support this? I think there are funds out there to take a regional approach and try to coordinate some of the investments that we have now, and to really look at what I see is the investment should be spread over the entire region. So it's not just Louisville who's getting this wonderful $10 million center, but let's think about Westport, let's think about Milton, let's think about parts of the other counties. You know, I work a lot with West Point, and I know that's right outside of your region, but they have the same issue. And they're really right across the border from Metro Louisville. So how this Ohio River Corridor Master Plan update, inside it, the folks wrote a very nice sort of request for proposals, and so hopefully we'll see some action on that coming up. That's all I have. I did pass out some nice little cards. We are working with the Center for Not-for-Profit Excellence for Payne Hollow and creating a nice regional plan and for our success, and that will be finished. Any questions or comments?
David, thank you for your work on this. It's appreciated, and you know, Trimble County is really appreciative of the work you're doing there at Payne Hollow and trying to preserve that, and we really appreciate it. And you know, you've got our full support. So,
well, it's a pleasure to work with you, really, John, and you know, how it impacts. One of the things that UK looked at was the relationship between Milton and Payne Hollow. So as we establish a regional education arts center, how does it impact really in Bedford and in, all sorts of projects have been dreamt about, and just money, opening up a Hubbard related gallery, in one of the storefronts there in downtown Bedford. So there's lots of opportunities, and if you haven't been to his place, he makes the best ice cream. Going every time we drive back and forth, we stop there, and 10 kids from across the United States, really, they went up there the other day and all had milkshakes, and so he makes good food.
Is Payne Hollow a place that you go to visit?
Payne Hollow is a 59-acre tract of land that was purchased by Mr. Hubbard. And the short story is that he was a river rat from 1900 on, born in Fort Thomas. He gets married when he's 42 years old to a wonderful librarian in Cincinnati. And they float down the Ohio River in a boat they made themselves during World War II. 5 years, didn't bring any food, nothing else. Grew gardens and caught fish, came back to Trimble County, bought the land and built his own house with his own hands. No electricity, no running water. They lived there for 50 years or 42 years, and died there. Just wonderful relationships. You go to the bank in Milton and there's a big mural, 2 churches, there's murals on there. So, really a bartering type of guy who really lived the life of a Trimble County guy on the Ohio River. And so, yes, it is a facility on the Ohio River, about 8 miles downstream of Milton.
The only way to get to it's by boat.
You can walk a mile in. It was an old road tracing. So when you really look at Trimble County, or really many rural counties, there's lots of these old roads that have been closed. Our road, Trimble, it's called Payne Landing Road. It's actually still accessible. It has an easement on it, but it's been closed probably since the Civil War. And so you have to walk down a mile 500 feet in elevation, so these young AmeriCorps members are getting their workout every day there. And so it's just, you know, a beautiful, Mr. Hubbard calls it a wilderness, a spot of wilderness on the Ohio River. And it really is a rural, you know, our neighbors are, you know, Preston Plantation now has a conservation easement on it, so it'll be a farm forevermore. Adjacent to that is the LG&E power plant, which is one of our great sponsors, and so they provide a barge and a tugboat and a 150-foot crane to come on out. So we really are, you know, striving to work with Trimble County Library, the Extension Service, and Historical Society, and LG&E, and certainly county government. But that's just one example, I think, that can go on. You know, one of the things that the Ohio Riverway is looking at is museums. So 103 museums from Ashland to Louisville within a mile of the Ohio River. You know, and so 103 museums that all have, you know, and Barringer Crawford's taking the lead on that, of sort of looking at a common stories that they can tell. Because sometimes as we talk about our natural resources of the Ohio River Valley, sometimes kids, sometimes residents don't know these common stories and the value of the river and the connections that we have. And, you know, there is some differences between Milton and Louisville. There's some differences between Milton and, you know, the west end of Louisville. But the river connects us, and that's what we're trying to do, is to celebrate that, but at the same time, think regionally and plan regionally. So it was a pleasure talking with you, and if there's any other questions, I'll be around, and Felicia certainly knows how to get in touch with me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wicks. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing the progress as it moves forward there with the Ohio Riverway. Next item on our agenda is the August financial statements. Here, I looked all over and you're only sitting right there. I'll figure that out. So go right ahead and got our full attention.
Alrighty, so this is our expenditure, our financials as of August 31st of 2024. And we are 16.67% through fiscal year 25. So we started doing a graph or bar graph type of format. And so on the right side is our budget of each of those sections. And then on the left side is how much we spent year to date so far. So under our CD, we have spent $161,587 for 18.06%. Sorry about that. And then on our transportation, we've had a spend of $668,314 for 11.86%. And then our Department of Social Services, we spent $3,984,125, which is 14.68%. And then these are other operating. So far we spent $4,309 for 5.44%. And that is our summary of elements. And then our next chart should be our agency actual to budget comparison. Okay, so on this chart, we have all of our departments, but the budget is $33,742,830. And so the first bar shows what we have by the month, what we've done in this month. The second bar is our year to date. And so of course our third is the budget. And so this month we spent $2,502,954. And then of course, year to date, it's $4,899,274. That is on the left side is our revenues and the right side is our expenses. And so we spent $2,488,053. And then our year to date, $4,930,950. So of course, the budget for expenses and revenue should match. And so that's our comparison. And then our last one is our balance sheet. and we have our total cash at 7%, which is $1,418,643. And then our total receivables at 20% for $3,765,702. And then the total other assets at 23% for $4,357,949. And total liabilities and projections are 50% at $9,540,647. Do we have any questions?
No questions?
Okay,
And this is an action item, of course, and so we entertain a motion to accept the August financial statements.
So moved.
Moved, have a second?
Second.
All right, any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Michelle.
thank you.
All right, next up is the Transportation Policy Committee. Andy.
Thank you very much. The Transportation Policy Committee met earlier this afternoon in this room. I'll go over a few of the highlights from that meeting. We had special guests. We had two special guests at our meeting this afternoon. One of them was the new division administrator of the Kentucky Division of the Federal Highway Administration. So Ms. Chandrika Given is new to the Kentucky Division. She came to Kentucky from the South Carolina Division. So we welcomed her. She introduced herself, so that was great. Our second special guest was none other than Ms. Felicia Harper. She came to talk to the TPC about the grant program in 2024. That's the program that I hope most of you all are aware of now that provides some local match relief utilizing state economic development funds to match federal discretionary grants. We processed what's known as Amendment 7 of our TIP and our MDP, our Transportation Improvement Program, and our Metropolitan Transportation Plan, short and long range plans respectively. There's a wide variety of projects in there in both states. So that was approved by the committee today. We had a Kentucky specific action item regarding the phase shifts. Phase shifts, for those that don't know, when a project doesn't get done in the year it has funds program, it needs to be phase shifted to the next year or to 2 years later, usually the next year. And so it's time to do that now that we're approaching the end of the Kentucky or the federal fiscal year. For our Indiana friends, we had we recapped our recent meeting in late August, where the remainder of our fiscal year 25 funding that we get from federal highways and federal transit was awarded. We had about 878,000, if I'm not mistaken, available to distribute. And so we went ahead and distributed now, not with the call for projects. That leads me to the next item, the call for projects. Brady Hill presented information on there about the call for projects. It sounds like some of you all in the room have already submitted a few of the projects for our upcoming call for projects. But as a reminder, that deadline is October 31st. So for full objection to Old and Clark and Floyd counties, October 31st is the deadline to put in for the KIPDA TPC or KIPDA MTO controlled federal dollars. A couple more real quick. Kentucky Indiana Transportation Excellence Award, otherwise known as the KITE Award. We announced that the nominations are now open. So if there's a project in your city, your county that you think is award worthy, please submit that. And if you can find information on our website for that, we will be announcing the winners of that award as we typically do at the November TPC meeting. And of course, we'll follow up with the board to shower them with the praise and the love at the board meeting that month too. And then just to note that a couple scheduling changes for those of you that are attendees of TPC. Next month's TPC meeting, normal time, normal date, but due to there will be no board meeting next month, so the TPC meeting will be a virtual only meeting. Okay, so it'll be virtual only on Zoom. And that concludes my report. If you have to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? If none, this is an item requires action. So I entertain a motion to accept the Transportation Policy Committee report.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Rutter.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is the Brownfields Assessment Coalition Grant. Ms. Harper?
Good afternoon. So as we announced at last month's board meeting, KIPDA has been awarded $1.5 million for the Brownfield Assessment Coalition Grant from EPA. And this grant will be used for the assessment of brownfield sites throughout our region by a qualified environmental professional. The EPA is expected to send a cooperative agreement to KIPDA for this grant in the near future. So KIPDA issued a request for proposals and received 4 response proposals from responsible environmental firms. We assembled an evaluation committee of 5 people. All were from outside the SEDS division who will be overseeing the Brownfield Coalition Grant Program. The 2 were from KIPDA, but outside of our division, and 3 were included outside in our region. We had 1 from our transportation department, 1 from our administrative services, 1 from the city of Jeffersonville, 1 from Shelby County, and 1 from Louisville Metro, all set on this evaluation committee. All of them have experience in brownfields or procurement and followed all of KIPDA's and EPA procurement standards. They reviewed the proposals and assigned scores on various metrics. Then they met twice to discuss the tabulated scores. They found that the proposal that offered the best value to KIPDA, which considered price and other factors, including quality of a finished product, was from Atlas Technical Consultants. Thus, the committee recommends that KIPDA select Atlas to carry out the project. And then once the project starts, we will need to form a regional brownfields committee to meet quarterly or as needed to engage the community throughout the project. So we request from the board to take 4 actions. The first one, the execution of a cooperative agreement between KIPDA and the EPA by KIPDA's executive director. The selection of Atlas Technical Consultants as the qualified environmental professional. The execution of a contract for professional services between KIPDA and Atlas to be signed by KIPDA's executive director. And the formation of a regional brownfield committee. So action is requested.
Okay. Are there any questions from Ms. Harper? So basically, there's 4 issues that action is required.
Correct. You want to take them separately or?
I
Together.
believe we could take them all together, just that that's okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to recommend, the 4 projects, to accept the projects that was presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
And I will be leaning on the county leaders and the city leaders to help me form that brownfield committee. So I'll be reaching out once. We have not received the contract from EPA yet, but once we receive that and have exactly what's needed. I appreciate that.
Okay, and you are up next with the Reconnecting Central Portland to the Riverfront project.
KIPDA will be applying for the Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant in partnership with KYTC. The project Reconnecting Central Portland to the Riverfront addresses the impact of I-64 by improving critical connectivity and safety for this historically disadvantaged community. The proposed project is well aligned with the RCP program goals, and it will directly benefit the members of this community by providing safer access to daily needs such as jobs, education, healthcare, food, nature, and recreation. KIPDA will be the lead applicant on this application. But the grant would actually be administered by KYTC. So the total project costs are $29,728,000. So they are applying for 50% at $14,864,000.
29 million.
29 million, what did I say? 29 million, sorry. And we will also be applying for the grant program of 2024 for the matching requirement. So action is requested to allow KIPDA to apply for the Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant Program and the grant program of 2024 for the matching fund.
Are there any questions? If none, entertain a motion, to, because there's actions requiring this, to, reconnecting Central Portland to the Riverfront project, and I'm not gonna say all that other stuff that Alicia said. And so I entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed,
Aye.
like sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you're up some more,
I'm up some more.
so you're at the free throw line
Maybe
here.
done between 9,000.
Make a presentation on the CED division activities.
All right, I just wanted to kind of give a board, just kind of showing you what me and my staff does on a monthly basis. These are applications for grant fundings that we submitted last month. So in 1 month, we submitted 2 community development block grant applications. One was from Eminence wastewater treatment plant expansion. This is taking their existing plant from 0.75 million gallons per day to 1 million gallons per day. The total of the project is $1.1 million. The CDBG that we've asked for will pay $562,500. The grant program of 2024 will pay $546,117. So that leaves a local match of only $16,000. The other Trimble CDBG was Trimble County U of L Health Urgent Care and Primary Care Clinic. We have one that we got approved for the city of Taylorsville. So now U of L Health is wanting to move into Trimble County. That's a total of $1.4 million project. The CDBG was $750,000 that we asked for. U of L Health will put in $675,000, and that would be a local match of $1,500. And then we did a Kentucky Waters for the city of Bedford, and this was a septic receiving station. This will construct a new septic receiving station at Bedford wastewater treatment plant. This was a $1.3 million grant application that we submitted to Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. We did an ATIP, which is Federal Highways Grant Program. This was for Trimble County Planning and Design Project to create a countywide active transportation master plan for our rural communities. This was $140,000 that we requested from the Federal Highways, $34,300 that was submitted and approved by the grant program of 2024 for $34,300. This would be a local match of only $686. And the grant program of 2024, we have submitted 6 projects. All those 6 projects that we have submitted have been approved for that matching fund to meet those federal dollars. And that accounts for $3.8 million. The biggest one that we received was for the city of Shepherdsville for the wastewater treatment plant. This is a ongoing project that we are trying to get as many grants for as possible. So far, I think we have 3 approved. And this for the grant program was $3.2 million that will go towards their $20+ million project. Jeffersontown Veterans Memorial Amphitheater received funding for a matching of $28,000. The Veterans Memorial Amphitheater for the Land and Water received $250,000 matching funds. The Trimble County ATIP is $34,300. And the Trimble County Splash Pad for their Land and Water will receive $232,885 matching funds from the state program. So again, if you all have any grants out there or any needs for anything, please reach out to me or Dustin, that we will be more than happy to submit an application for you. A lot of them are not due until beginning of the year, but as soon as there's new ones released, we will definitely send those out to you if we know that you all are looking for a certain project. So, no action requested, just a report.
Thanks for that report.
I'd like to report that, Lisa, we are, U of L is starting next week in Taylorsville. Construction.
Perfect.
Good, great. All right, next item on our agenda is the fiscal year 25 Division of Social Services Business. Bishop Forbes, how are you today?
So, we have conducted procurement for our state funded meals program. We received 4 applications and met to review those. And determined that GA Foods was the successful offer for this contract. So we are requesting board approval for award of the contract to GA Foods for FY 20, for the remainder of FY 25 through FY 27. And then the prices here are listed on agenda item 11 on page 39, It's basically $6.93 a meal. With GA Foods paying a 10% match. With the exception being frozen texture modified meals, they have a slightly higher price at $7.65. This will be a new vendor for KIPDA. Currently, that contract is being performed by Masterson's. Masterson's will remain our meal preparation provider for our C2 meals, but we will have a new provider for our state funded meals, which was formerly our home care home delivered meals program. So, and we have to take this one separately, so.
Oh, yeah, you have to take it separately, okay. Then we'll start off with the first one, that's the approval of the contract award to the GA Foods for the fiscal year 25-27.
Yes, sir.
Okay, need a motion,
I move approval. I'll second.
and a second. Any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried for the approval of that contract. Then the second item here is, I guess that's the rates that they're gonna,
So that would be a part of the contract.
that's part of that
Yeah.
contract?
So the next one is, and we'll be requesting ratification of the executive director's signature
Okay,
on some additional MOUs with FMS agencies or that we've got agreements in place with. We're really excited this kind of continues to grow. Jessica spoke on this program during the last board meeting, and we were contacted last week by yet another agency, Vida, I believe is the name of it. So we'll be setting up a meeting to look at them so we can continue to expand the provision of those services. So, but since the last meeting, we have had the executive director sign signatures for Advantage Case Management and JBS Case Management. We're just asking for ratification of those contracts.
all right, so this is a motion then to approve the ratification of the executive director's signature on those MOUs.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
are there any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. On the next one that you have, or that can,
Yes,
that includes everything that you had for that, right?
for that one, yes.
Okay,
So the next is, in regards to a 4.3 grant. So several months ago, Jessica, was approached by Ford, the Ford Foundation, to work on a grant that would allow us to address food disparity, while also the ability to reduce the need for transportation back and forth from the grocery store for our area. And we are excited to announce that KIPDA, in partnership with Awake Ministries, is eligible to get a $100,000 grant from Ford Philanthropy. This is a new opportunity for KIPDA, and we will use these funds to partner with local farmers to prepare food boxes to deliver to KIPDA's rural C2 clients. The goal is to have ingredients accompanied by simple recipe suggestions that are easily replicated by those with limited physical abilities. Local, simple, nutritious foods with simple preparation methods. So just nice, easy food boxes going out to our current clients. The catch with this is that while Ford approached us after getting a referral from the Meals on Wheels program, those funds have to be awarded to a 501c3 organization, which obviously KIPDA is not. So we have identified Awake Ministries, which actually is Open Door of Hope, DBA Awake Ministries in Shelbyville. They have agreed to act as a fiscal sponsor for KIPDA. Essentially, they'll receive the funds and then they'll reimburse us for services. So we're really excited about the new possibilities, and there's probably going to be more to come as we get into developing those relationships to prepare those boxes. The agenda actually asked that we ratify the executive director's signature, but this all kind of came around very last minute. We do not yet have their signature, so that means we get to ask you first. So we would like to ask for approval for their signature on a fiscal sponsorship agreement with Awake Ministries in order to accept these funds.
Okay, entertain a motion then for the ratification of the executive director's signature on the physical sponsor agreement with Awake Ministries.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Have a second?
I have some discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
How, do you plan on, like, in each county, get with the farmers market committees to, locally to try to hook up to use local folks in each county? Or what's the plan to hook up with the growers?
Right, yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that. Jessica is, at the Dale conference, there's a Dale conference in Lexington
Okay.
this week, and she is the one who's kind of been spearheading that, but I would imagine that, that is something that she's intending to do.
Yeah, I mean, we have, I'm guessing all the counties, have some sort of farmers market committee. That would be a good place to reach out to start, so.
Okay, I will certainly pass that along to her as we get started on that direction.
The more local food that could be, utilizing this would be good for the farmers in all of our rural counties for sure.
Absolutely. As far as I know, that's the goal. That's the presentation application to Humana is that to forward was that we are going to use, local products.
And I think it's important to recognize the efforts of Tricia and Jessica. This has been an effort that has been lasting about 18 months. And then basically the 11th hour, we found out we had to be a 501c3. So we were left scrambling with about 2 weeks to identify a partner to be the fiscal sponsor. So just, it was a tremendous amount of work to make this come together to bring it to the board today. So I just want to again thank Tricia and Jessica for all their efforts.
Okay.
We're excited about the opportunity for the communities and the county.
Great. Well, we have a motion on the floor. Any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's hard to imagine how far $100,000 would go to local farmers that sell their produce at farmers markets.
Next up is item number 13, open enrollment activities. Ms. Sanders. Wait a minute.
All right.
All right. Okay.
All right, I'm Nia Anderson. I'm the program manager over KIPDA's Connector program. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll just roll it out to you guys.
Roll it out. Okay.
All right, KIPDA's Connector program, we provide individuals seeking health insurance with assistance enrolling in healthcare plans throughout Kentucky Benefit Exchange or the state-based health insurance plan. Our KIPDA connectors do community outreach, education about the KHBE Connect and community coverage, assistance to anyone requesting application for health insurance. So this is, we're going into our 11th year of having the KIPDA Connector program, so we're pretty excited about that. Under Connect, the vision is for it to be like a one-stop shop for everything. Right now, this encompasses the health, is an umbrella that encompasses Connect healthcare coverage, Connect benefits, and Connect resources. So with the healthcare coverage portion, that's where people can apply for the QHPs, advanced premium tax credits. Under benefits, that's where people would receive, go to apply for Medicaid, Kentucky, K-CHIP, SNAP benefits and so forth. And then also connect resources where we're able to also connect individuals with other resources throughout the community. As open enrollment is starting for 2025, the important dates to remember is November 1st, open enrollment starts. December 15th is the deadline to for coverage to begin on January 1st. January 15th is the last day to enroll in order to have coverage for 2025. This is gonna be our first enrollment right after the unwinding of Medicaid. Of course, everybody knows during the public health emergency that things were a little bit different and people were able to have special enrollment periods that gave them longer to apply and less strenuous restrictions in order to qualify for certain programs. So out of that, we've had a lot of people that are going back into regular jobs and everything out of the public health emergency. So the unwinding of Medicaid has had a lot of people that have gone into qualified health plans. So this may be the first open enrollment for a lot of people because they're coming out of the unwinding of Medicaid. Outside of open enrollment, individuals can apply for coverage if they qualify for that special enrollment period. And depending on what special enrollment period they have, they may have 60 days before or after the event in order to enroll in a health plan. So connectors can help people compare plans. There's different type of plans and the plans are divided into several categories. Those categories are bronze, silver, gold, and platinum with varying levels of coverage. We can help them check for financial assistance. Many individuals will qualify for advanced premium tax credits and sometimes Medicaid as well. After comparing those options, then when they go through those, I will break down. Okay. Let's go back. Go back. Yeah. So starting with the bronze plans, those are lower monthly premium plans. And then those are usually the plans that somebody may have a little bit higher out of pocket, but they have lower monthly premiums. So they typically cover about 60% of healthcare costs, with silver plans being more of that middle of the road and also where people may see most of their bigger savings because they may also qualify for cost sharing reductions. Then we also have gold plans. Those have a higher monthly premium, but they cover about 80% of healthcare costs. And then platinum plans have the highest monthly premiums, but they cover more like 90% of healthcare costs. If you need healthcare coverage, like on here, we have lots of flyers that we have out in the communities that have QR codes where you can scan that QR code and it will take you to connect.ky.gov. And there you can click on Get Local Help and you can find one of our local connectors. We also have that information and it's linked from also our website and then also from the KHPE.ky.gov website as well. And then the next slide. You can go to the connect.ky.gov website and there you'll be able to just click on find a connector, put in a little bit of basic information, or if it's a connector that you already know of, you can put in their name and then one of them would come up. And then on the next slide here, we just have a breakdown here of how the estimated cost for healthcare coverage could be. So for one of the examples, an individual that is 19 years or older making $22,000 per year, they can qualify for a qualified health plan with advanced premium tax credits, which kind of offsets what their monthly premiums are. And they would have cost sharing reductions. And that means that they may have some plans that are available to them that for as little as $0 a month with that extra help with APTC and CSRs. On the next slide, our connectors do a full calendar, every month. And so you may see us around town, or, if you have the need for a connector, feel free to reach out to myself and we'll be able to get a connector in your area to assist. You can go to the next slide. These are some of our connectors and some of the events that we do, attend. I think, both of these may have been at an elementary school. These ladies make it look very glamorous, but, please know that they're hauling around tables and tents and boxes, and they're doing all that they can do to be, where people are, wherever the need is. And then the last slide, next to last slide is just showing how if you go to that KHBE website, that's how you would be able to see also by county where each connector would be. And, that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
This is just such a confused, complex thing, Medicare is. And so many people are so confused by it, and I hear it all the time, and they ask me, and I can't answer anything about it. But I think that's great that you're all doing this because people need that.
Yeah, I think that also, KIPDA itself is kind of like a little one-stop shop for insurance in general. So
Right.
we have ADRC guiding through the beginning of maybe SHIP or something like that. We also have our connectors, they can assist you if you have dual eligibility. And then also, if someone doesn't have Medicare, if they just have Medicaid, maybe they're a business owner and they need a qualified health plan.
They don't even know what to ask you. I hate to say that, but most of them don't.
Well, you get them to us, and a lot of times we'll help figure it out for them. We
Let me
try.
ask you this, do you know anything about reverse mortgages for Medicare?
No, ma'am, we don't,
Do
cover,
anything with that?
no, ma'am.
Okay. You know, guys, as a realtor, I'm just gonna say this, if you have anybody in your community that is thinking about doing a reverse mortgage, it's the worst thing anybody could do. Please advise your citizens at your senior citizen center not to do these, because what's happening is that these people, this is the third time seen this year, they're getting a mortgage, and it's a reverse mortgage, and they're using all their interest, all their equity up. And then all of a sudden, this house isn't worth that, they're kicking these people out, and they don't have a place to go when they had a home. You know, it's just a really bad situation. So I've tried to educate my seniors over there, do not do this. Call somebody that has some knowledge of this mortgage. Bad. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Sanders. All right, next on our agenda is the advisory council recruitment.
Well, I can talk about that for a couple
Okay.
minutes. So I'm Joanna and I work at KIPDA in the Division of Social Services. And yes, we need some advisory council members on our advisory council committee. If you're not familiar with what that is, there's this council, we meet. Well, lately we've been meeting monthly, but we're gonna be that's Trish's law. No, that's a joke. We're gonna be trying to cut back again to every other month when we're supposed to be meeting. And we're looking for people who, especially out in some of our outlying counties, we're pretty well represented in Jefferson County. We've got some pretty decent coverage out of Bullitt County, but Trimble County, Shelby County. If you know anybody who maybe works with seniors or are a senior themselves and might be interested in joining our council, please send them my way. I'd be happy to provide them an application and information. And I think I'm supposed to talk about a couple other things, but I don't know what's next on the agenda.
That's the only thing we have on here is the advisory council recruitment.
Okay,
That's all we have down for.
I will say with the advisory council, that is conducted virtually, so, as well, so, you don't have to, if you have somebody that would like to participate, they can participate, from their home without traveling to KIPDA.
okay. Well, a couple of coworkers who were not able to be here today, they asked me to also mention Medicare open enrollment, which is a little different from me as Medicaid open enrollment. And that is gonna be going from October 15th to December 2nd. So that's another big time of year for us. And then Amanda Davis from the Family Caregiver Program asked me to pass out some flyers as we are we're helping host a very large community / health fair in the Grafensburg area I believe it's in early November, so if you want to take any of these back to your communities. If you know anybody who wants a table, information is on there.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Next up is the fiscal year 2025 agency-wide budget revision. Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. I'm at agenda item 15, page 41. We don't have a screen presentation for that, so you have to look at your books. But our operating budget is $13,792,643. Program related budget is $19,950,187. Total budget, our total budget is $33,742,830. And I just wanted to highlight a few of the, I guess, more significant differences is that we did increase our temporary services in social services for $54,000 to add some temps. And then we have a decrease in contract services in transportation at $123,034. And then we also just decrease our miscellaneous by $31,630. And we increased programs in social services for $778,893. And so those are just some of the larger differences in the budget that we made for this period of time. I guess I would like to request board approval for those revisions.
These are amendments and revisions to the agency-wide budget, so this does require an action. So entertain a motion then for acceptance of the fiscal year 2025 agency-wide budget revision. Or any other questions? Do you have any other questions for Ms. Shaw? If none, we will entertain that motion.
Motion.
A motion?
I'll second.
Have a second?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Shaw.
Okay.
Next up, we have the September personnel report. Ms. Agnew?
So we have 2 departures since the last board meeting. Tony McCracken resigned as ADRC Specialist 2 on August 19th, and Eli Crow actually isn't a departure, but he has moved from full-time to part-time as a nutrition assessor. And that was effective September 16th. We have a new hire in transportation, Elijah Beliles, as a transportation planner 1, started on September 9th. And we have 2 vacancies. We still have a connector vacancy in Trumbull, Henry, and Carroll counties. You're probably sick of reading that in my board reports, but we're doing everything we can to find somebody there. And we also are looking for a support staff coordinator, which was just posted. And we've actually got some really good candidates, initial candidates. Job postings, as usual, can be found on our website, and our staff count is 78 full-time permanent, 4 part-time permanent, and 2 full-time temporary. Action is requested, please.
Okay, we need a motion to accept the September personnel report.
So moved.
And second,
I'll second.
you got a second? Any other questions?
I do have one question.
You got a question?
On
Okay.
that connector for Trumbull, Henry and Carroll counties,
Yes.
is that a full-time position or, okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes. You know someone.
Possibly. Is that something that we could maybe partner with, Tri-County on, Jared, and maybe,
We have had conversations about how we might be able to work with Tri-County in that capacity, so it's something we've had a
I
discussion.
think it would be kind of a fit for, that agency as well.
Well, there's a little bit of an issue because the way the KHB contract is divided across the state, the community action agencies have it for some of the counties. Then what is the Kentucky Primary Care Association as well. So we're trying to see partnering with community action agencies since they already hold a contract through other counties within the state, but it's something we can certainly discuss and explore.
Is that something that you would need an office in those counties for that person to be at, or do they
No,
work
we don't
out of
need
here?
Space,
Okay, you just need a person.
just need a person.
Okay, all right.
Thank you so much.
Jared, I'll follow up with you about that.
Fantastic, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the personnel report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Next is the intergovernmental reviews. As you see there in your package, you have a list of those. So, and I understand everything's good with those, everything's fine, no, they meet all the qualifications and everything's clear on that. So we'll just take a single motion to approve the intergovernmental reviews, items A through H. The motion, we have a second?
Second. I guess it doesn't matter if we're voting on our own counties on this one.
No, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
second.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you all very much. Next is the executive director's report.
First, I'd like to welcome a few of the guests that we have today. We have Mark Lord, James Victory, and Kylie Fouché from Congressman Guthrie's office. I'd like to offer you all the floor if there's anything you'd like to discuss.
Just want to say we're glad to have the government open. We're not in a government shutdown. We got votes. We got members who are going back home and catching flights as they can to dodge the hurricane coming up through the south right now. But Congressman Guthrie's been working diligently on several different things. Since we mentioned the brownfield subject earlier, one thing that Congressman Guthrie is trying to advocate for is to eliminate a lot of the red tape that goes with trying to reassess brownfield energy sites that could be repurposed for new power generation, knowing the generation needs that we have growing in exponential ways with AI sites looking to close with data, open up with data centers and then the EV battery world, that sort of thing. That's a key thing. We've got to be able to make that power generation happen to serve those customers in an exponential growth sort of format. So that's one of those things we're trying to do, to be smart about what we're doing site location and eliminating a lot of the redundancy that goes with relocating and reestablishing power generation in brownfield sites. But there's many other things that Congressman Guthrie is working on in the healthcare world. And so look forward to having him back here in Jefferson counties. I think we had him back here in Jefferson and Bullitt last month during the August break. Look forward to having you come back again. But thank you on behalf of James and Kyler. And I'll just say one thing, it's for staff. It's fun for us to see some of the earmarks come down and get announced to see how we're helping our communities to grow with some of the tremendous growth needs that are there. That's a recurring theme that we've seen throughout the years. We've kind of been in this post-pandemic world that we're seeing a lot of growth. And a lot of our communities are really struggling to keep up with that growth. And we want to be helpful in a lot of ways, especially as the things that you would traditionally expect government to do with regard to infrastructure, so water, wastewater, to the extent that we can be helpful with transportation challenges. We're eager to help with those as well. But anyway, it's fun to see some of those awards now come out and ribbon cuttings taking place. So it's intrinsically rewarding for us, and we'd love to engage in that. Thank you all to your team, the ads across the second congressional district have been fabulous to work with to try to coordinate those needs. So as we look ahead to next year, perhaps March, like we've seen in the previous years, we look forward to getting some projects on the table to help with. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. Also like to welcome Josie Hammond with the Senator McConnell. Josie, I have to give you the floor.
Hi, everyone. Not too much to add. Government is not shutting down, so they will be home this weekend for the whole month of October. We typically get a break in October, but they're all coming back again. So not too much to add, like I said. I just will remind everyone, as you all apply for grants or anything, feel free to reach out to our office. We're always happy to do support letters. Caveat of what we can technically write support letters for, but please let us know. We're always happy to get involved. I always sing Felicia's praises, and she does an amazing job working with you all and navigating those grants. It can be a tricky process, but we're always happy to help where we can. So let me know if you want anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Josie. But also just want the record to reflect that Mayor Pike joined us, as well as Deputy Judge Joe Ender, after we did the roll call. So thank you all for being here, as well as thank you all for everybody on the screen, as well in the room. I know that you all are busy. We have approaching storms, so thank you all for being here to conduct business. I know that we have a lot of leaders across our board, and I do want to recognize one that's on the screen. Members of the Indiana Municipal Management Association voted Clarksville's Kevin Beatty as the Manager of the Year in the state of Indiana. That is fabulous accomplishment, and congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you for that. It was a complete surprise and was not even alerted that I had been nominated.
All right, way to go, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right.
And that just moves on to the final business. We have 3 travel items for board consideration. The first is the EPA Region 4 new grantees meeting in Atlanta, Georgia, October 8th to 9th. This is cost reimbursable and it's required as part of that EPA grant, has been discussed as agenda item 8, and that would be Jennifer Wilson and Dustin Duggan from our CD division. And then 2 other items, the October Kentucky Association of District Directors meeting in Camden, Kentucky, October 9th to 11th. Again, I meet monthly with my contemporaries from across the state, typically in Frankfurt, but twice a year we travel to the east, once to the east, once to the west. So this is the meeting in the eastern part of the state. And then finally, the NATO Annual Training Conference and board meeting where I serve as a board member for NATO. This is in New Orleans, October 20th to the 24th. 2 staff members attending, myself as well as Felicia, and then our chairman Bernie Bowling as well. So again, for your all's consideration, action is requested.
Need a motion then to approve these travel items? Motion, no second. Any questions? If none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign. Motion carried.
And then our October meeting, we have the Regional Planning Council on October 8th at 11 a.m. here in the Burke Room and by Zoom. Later that afternoon at 1:30 will be the Regional Water Management Council. And then we have the Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee on October 9th at 1 o'clock. And then next month is when we do not have a board meeting, but we will, as Andy alluded to earlier, have the Transportation Policy Committee that will be at 12:30, and that will be a fully virtual meeting. And without the October meeting, I did want to touch on November. November is kind of our special set of meetings where we'll have our Transportation Policy Committee meeting at 9:30, Regional Transportation Committee meeting at 10, and then the Board of Directors meeting at 11, followed by our annual luncheon. And that's going to be at the St. Matthews Community Center on 1010 Lane, kind of across from the Mall of St. Matthews. And that concludes my report. I tried to have these meetings be 75 minutes, and I think we were 3 minutes shy, so just made it. So motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Have us be safe and everything. Watch out for any storms coming. And wish you all the best. Y'all have a nice